All right, so we're gonna just do a little quick. We're gonna look at the rules real quick because this is something that could come up in team bouts, and knowing your rules here really applies. So at the Asian Fencing Championships last weekend, Uzbekistan was fencing Kazakhstan, and was just on fire that day. Hashtag Team French Grips or four French Grippers. That's beyond the point. So they got to there was their ninth relay, and they exhausted all their passivity cards. So they got all the reds. The next one's a black. In a individual match, what happens is if you get a passivity black, the fencer with the higher seeding gets to go through. However, in team, which we're going to look at, what it means is that if you get a black card, you get to use your sub if you haven't used it. And since both teams had not used it here, they each got to use their sub. So the rule was properly applied. It looks like both teams knew what was happening for the most part. So we're just going to kind of breeze through it just to see. I'm not too focused on the actual result as much as just the rule application, because we're going to see a spot where it actually matters down the line. All right, so I believe it was 22. Right? So, halt gets called. He looks a little confused. All right, so they both get black carded. Just fine. So it's just for the bout, right? They'll get to fence in the next match if they want. All right, so they hug it out. And then none of the teams had used their substitutes here. Very important to note. Right, and then the substitute comes in. And results kind of relevant. Uzbekistan wins the bout. They get a really nice hand hit. It's not overtime, remember. This just carries on the period. And then Uzbekistan takes it. Right, so let's look at the rule. So we're going to look past. We're going to zoom it in for you guys. A team which a fencer has received a P black card may use their reserve fencer if they have one. Big if sometimes. And replacement has not already been made. So the replacement cannot have already been made. So if you've made the replacement, too bad, so sad. So in matches where you think you're going to get, you might go to passivity like that, you should not use your replacement all willy-nilly. If no replacement can be made following the receipt of the P black, because there is no reserve fencer, or because the reserve fencer has already been used, this team, in which a fencer has been sanctioned by P black card, loses the bout. So here, just rules applied. So now we're going to go look at Budapest and 2019. So earlier in the bout, Yamada was fencing. Right, if we look past, Yamada was fencing. He wasn't having the best relays, and they ended up putting in on the second last relay. They ended up putting Uyama. And during the bout, they've already exhausted all their passivity cards. So full passivities. So they see here it's still reds. So let's keep going a tiny bit. So now, so at this point, Japan does not have any reserves left. Israel does. They have not used their reserve, but Japan is the higher seeding. So in their mind, they're applying the individual rules. Watch what happens. So it looks like, they're happily just waiting it out. So now you hear a lot of cheering. Right, we'll turn it up. Israel knows what's up. I'm sorry, Uyama, but look at that. You're looking a little smug. That's about to get wiped. Oh, you poor soul. right? So they think they've won this, but anyway. This as you can see, this is like this goes on for like 10-20 minutes. They do not have a reserve. Look at everything, right? They've got to call people. This has not, like, this was when passivity was still relatively new with these new rules. But they've got to call people over. They've got entire DTs coming in. Boom, and then eventually, right, Japan does have to concede. And there we have it, folks. There we have it. So, know your rules. You never know when it might happen, but it always helps, right? I hope you guys like these kind of obscure rules, and I hope you guys learned something from it. See ya.